All right, YouTube. What's going on? This is the Poacher coming to you from the dressing room here. A day after the EuroCup has ended. So great tournament. I think the past EuroCups I really watched. This was a good one. I felt like most games were really competitive. You had some good surprises along the way, but I think as a fan of the game, I feel very satisfied with like the results, and the right team has won that tournament, so on and so forth. So, just breaking it down for the recap here, I'm going with the expected, same time, biggest surprises and biggest disappointments, and then overall just tournament outlook, right? So I think as expected, I felt like the teams that we expected to be in the positions they were there, right? England, you knew, was coming in with a great team. France, we thought that they could potentially, win the whole thing after their great run of results in past tournaments. I think as well, you had, a key, like I say your usual suspects. Netherlands had a decent tournament. Belgium got where they needed to get to. Italy as well, a little bit, which I'll get into Italy a little bit as well. I have some things I have to say about them. But I felt like for the most part, the right teams were in the right places. I think Spain surprised some people a little bit because of their youth and the way they won the tournament, but expected, I think it did live up to the expectations. Oh, I forgot Portugal, right? Expected as well to where they got to, and yeah, I felt like it's the right teams were, I think, eliminated at the right stages compared to who they had their predecessors were, which leads to like the biggest surprises of the tournament. I think I'll say on the uptick part, I felt like Turkey surprised a lot of people. I think Turkey has a relatively good young side. I think will grow next couple of years. The way they played against Austria in the round 16 was impressive. That game against the Netherlands, I honestly think was probably one of the best games I watched in the tournament. You had so much back and forth play, and you just like Turkey, like I said, they had the lead and they just took their foot off the pedal for like maybe 10 minutes and ended up costing them the tournament, right? So, but yeah, I would say for sure Turkey, big surprise. Switzerland, I think too, they played extremely well for the pieces that they had. Like, they had like a little bit a good like veteran guard with younger talent. So I'll say a little bit Switzerland on that. I think kind of like, surprises and disappointment. I felt like even though, yes, like Portugal lost to a very, very good competitive side in France, but I just felt like Portugal could have done a little bit better. I just think like just based on the way the teams were playing, the styles they're playing at that point in time, I felt like Portugal just could have maybe gotten by France, but that's just me. Anyway, I would say yeah. So surprises, right? Disappointment, I think it depends on the person because like you think about it, the teams that got through in the round of 16 outside of Croatia were kind of expected to go through, right? So there wasn't really any like shockers that took place, right? I think more if you are like, I say if you're like an Italian fan, right? Italy was the last, EuroCup champion. I felt like Italy for most of the tournament just came flat. I just don't. I know they're all about defense. I just didn't see any like pop or any like anything that can convince me that they can win the title again, right? And and they got away with some things that like that got them to the round 16, like for example the Croatia game. What a wonderful goal to get them through, but like it really took to like the 97th minute to get there, or else they could have potentially been eliminated. And then they finally faced a Switzerland team that just knew how to execute. So I think for like if you're an Italian fan or a fan of Italy, I think I would be a little disappointed. I think I'll be a little disappointed about their effort. I felt like yes, they didn't make the World Cup, and you want a good showing, but like heading towards 2026, I don't see answers yet. And I like I said, I love watching Serie A. I think they in the next 2 years they need to find a better offensive like identity with that to complement it, or it might be a short trip to the States in 2 years' time. This another disappointment you can put into play. If you're an English fan, I feel you. I think England, it's just for the longest time has always failed at like the weirdest times in the weirdest ways, and like it just felt like based on their history, and especially in the last 5 years, that they were working their way up towards the mountaintop. And I would say like like in 2021 to now, like it's like hey, you got Bellingham now that might get you over the top. Now you have like a superstar who's potentially a top five player, and still with that, it's I think for England, losing the final just heartbreaking. I feel like for England, you thought this was their time, you thought it was coming home, and just it wasn't meant to be. So it kind of stinks. You're an English fan. I think it's like I think it is a disappointment. I think the expectations were to win it. I think they put themselves in the best position to win it. They were even tied in the final to potentially go extra time. And I honestly think like great goal by Spain, but I think it was just a big mistake that England made in the back. I think you get the guy being your defenders into your post. Goalkeeper's not even reading it either. So I felt like it was more a mistake, and they just made it at the worst time too. That England just didn't have enough time to respond in general. I think other than that, like yeah, when it comes down to disappointments, there wasn't really like many to pick out. There wasn't really like a surprise. You're like, oh my god, like type of thing. So I think that's what made this tournament so great. Now, like when it comes down to the outlook, I think I give this tournament 8 out of 10. I think it had a little bit of everything. He had some great games, some exciting finishes, great PK taking for the most part. You had the big stars playing in the key games you wanted them to play in for the most part. Excuse me. And and then last but not least, you had a great final. And I think you have all that combined, you do have a great tournament. I think one of the worst things as a neutral fan, it's like you have like a semifinal or final that just really sucks to watch on TV. And the Euros, you never had that. I think game of the tournament for sure, in my opinion, Netherlands Turkey. I think that was a great game to watch. Um, I felt like the best PK in this tournament. There's a lot of good ones. The Harry Kane one was good. I think Harry Kane, I believe that was the semi-final when he scored that against Holland. I think that was like put it left corner, keeper no chance. But overall, I feel like great tournament for sure. Now moving forward, you look at World Cup qualifying that's going to be in for these European countries. Now the overall field of teams that are going to the World Cup is 48 countries. So you do have more European opportunities. And so for the most part, I think for like the big teams should qualify. I won't like now you have enough space that you could get a surprise here and there, but I think your bigger teams should go through to the U.S. in 2026. And then, I think, when it comes down to individual teams, the three teams I'll kind of keep an eye on next couple of years, right? Obviously, Spain's your champion, young team. You're curious how that's going to go. I think England will be interesting too. Do they keep Southgate? Maybe, maybe not, right? And I think like the last one, I'm just kind of just curious how like they're going to approach this. And everyone will say, hey, how about France? No, I think France will be fine. I'm curious how Belgium is going to approach this now, and the reason why is like old guard, right? When you have De Bruyne, and then you have Lukaku getting a little bit older now, and you do have some young talent in there. I'm just curious how they're going to like bridge that gap going towards like 2026. So, but outside of that, great tournament. Looking forward towards the European season about to begin. Preseason's around the corner. And obviously there's still transfer windows, so let's see what moves are being made. But excited about this next season, the Prem. I'll try to cover best way I can on that. I want to watch last Serie A this season. I think that'd be great to watch. And of course, Champions League coming up. Like and subscribe. Looking forward to chatting with you all online. But outside of that, I'm glad you all enjoyed the tournament, enjoyed the games. Looking forward to watching more games with you in the future. On that, from the dressing room, Poacher out. Bye.